Chef Pete's joined us, and some people will know you, some people won't. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name's Peter. Currently just finished the boat season, working on different size yachts. Worked in Michelin Star Restaurants in London, Paris, private houses, that sort of thing. Always wanted to work on boats, and just coming to the end of the season, and here we are now just to talk about that, I guess.
Cool. I mean, basically, I remember it must have been the start of last winter, probably November-ish, December time. We touched
base, didn't we?
Yeah, you contacted me. I don't know how you got in touch with me. I probably Googled and found us.
That's exactly it.
And you were thinking about product that you're going to need for the winter season.
Yeah.
And I think I said to you at the time, you're probably not going to be able to order from a provisioner in the south of France.
Yeah.
But, you know, you never know.
It was just the fact that you did like chalets and villas and stuff that resonated with me, and I wanted a provisioner up there that was good and I could trust. But then I didn't realise, obviously, you're in Antibes, which is about 8 hours away, and if I'm ordering minimal orders, it's not kind of viable. So
yeah.
So we never really took it up, but we always kept in touch, didn't we?
Yeah. Through the season, a few texts here and there, backwards and forwards. I was asking you how you were getting on and what the food was like and stuff like that, because I'm a nosy bastard, really. And you were like, I haven't got time to chat.
Yeah, that's it. The build was delayed and stuff like that, so it's always the way.
Yeah.
And then I was at a loose end what to do, and my friend said, why don't you just get your STCW done? And I'd looked at that for a while to do boats.
Did you know what it was, an STCW 95?
I knew I needed it. I didn't know how the course works and stuff.
Well, what I'd like to ask, because I'm thinking to myself, this could be quite an interesting podcast for chefs out there who have thought about yachting, but have never got involved in it. And you've just gone through that whole process of literally leaving London. You did a job in the Alps for the winter, but then you went, right, I'm going to do it. So the first thing you knew you had to do was get an STCW 95, which is basically training to be able to understand what happens on a yacht.
Yeah.
Fire, health, safety, things like that.
Yeah. I mean, every person on board has roles. So you're not necessarily just a chef. You know, you might, if there's an emergency, you're assisting with donning masks, you're assisting just different protocols on the boat. And sort of, you've got to know that, you've got to know systems on boats, how it works. It's very different to being a chef on land, where you can get off, you can walk home, go down the pub, talk to your mates. Whereas on the boat, you know, there's a whole protocol that you have to adhere to.
But you're part of the team, aren't you? At the end of the day, I think if you work in a restaurant, you work in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You serve the food. When service is over, you clean up, you go.
Yeah.
You're not. It's not relevant to you what's going on in if somebody stays in the dining room drinking wine until 2 a.m. and they've had all their food, you're gone.
Yeah.
And you get there when the produce arrives, and you organise your mise en place, get yourself ready for your service. When you're on a yacht, you're part of a team, and you're expected to be part of everything that's happening. Would you agree with that?
No, I completely agree. And one thing I've found with being on a boat is that nothing works to time. Nothing is ever set in a way. You think you know what's going on, you think you know where the boat's going, so you try and allocate your provisions and stuff like that. Changes due to weather. Like on the last boat I was on, there was 3 people dictating the movement of the boat: the principal, his wife, and the captain. And they want to go there because they've seen it's nice weather there. The captain knows that he can't go there because he's seen on his radar that there's bad weather there, or he can't get a space. And then Mr. will chip in with, I want to go there. So there's a whole itinerary I was given. And one thing I learned, because I've done 2 boats, on my first boat, I always like to know what's going on. And I would always ask Lee, Chef Lee, I know you know him, he's a great guy, really helped me get me into the industry. I'd always be asking him questions. I'd be like, what's for lunch? What time's lunch? What's happening? Blah, blah. And then he was like, stop asking me because I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? And he literally doesn't know.
So that's the big change from a restaurant, is you know that a restaurant opens at 12:30 for lunch, closes at 2:30.
Yeah.
That's not how it works on a yacht.
No.
There is no time for lunch.
No.
Now, it's a ballpark figure. So if somebody says, when's lunch? They'll say any time from 11 until possibly 7 p.m.
You're still doing breakfast after too.
Yeah. And that's because it's a yacht. It's not a restaurant.
Yeah.
They're paying the staff to be there for when they need it.
That's
and
it.
Somebody could be having breakfast and somebody could be having lunch at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah,
and they want breakfast and lunch. They don't want the same meal, and you need to have variety. So it's a very different life.
And sort of in the chalet, like just touching on breakfast, the chalet, obviously it's different because the guests want to be out on the slopes, so they've got an agenda. So your breakfast window in a chalet is about an hour and a half, and that's sort of the breakfast, and that's what you do. Maybe you might do some pancakes, you might do some porridge or something, slight variations, but you're not twiddling your thumbs waiting until 11:30 to do breakfast.
Yeah, well, this is
they're out on the slopes.
Yeah, I mean, like restaurants, chalets. I mean, I worked in the ski seasons for years. I think I did 15 ski seasons.
Yeah. Wow.
And basically, you know that people are going on that mountain, and you know your guests. For example, if you're in a chalet like you were, you know who's skiing, who's not.
Yeah.
You know who's injured, who's not.
Yeah.
You know where they're going for lunch because they arrange that, because they're all going to ski in different areas and then join up for lunch. You know when the chalet's empty.
Yeah.
Unless something happens, basically. But you know, breakfast is going to be, you're going to be there, 6:37?
Yeah.
Get your breakfast sorted. You know, by 8, latest, you've seen the first person, if not earlier.
That's it.
And then you know by 9:30,
they're out the door.
Most people are wanting to have left, or at least be putting their shit together to go.
Yeah.
Whereas lunchtime is not happening in the chalet because they're on the mountain.
Yeah.
So you know you've got until 5 p.m. if you're organised. You don't need to be back at the kitchen till 5, depending, because you might prep some stuff before you leave to go skiing yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
A yacht is not like that, and anybody getting into this industry really needs to know. I think it's important to know that you're working whenever you need to work.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of posts on social media where people complain about overwork. They feel like they're being abused. That's yachting, not abuse, but that's the job. And it's very difficult to disassociate abuse with what the real job is if you're not used to that life.
You're constantly on.
Yeah.
You're on call all the time. So on my last boat, I knew that my dad had gone shopping, and I knew that they hadn't had breakfast. So the chances are that they're going to want some food. We set sail at 3. I knew I could just take a small walk. I've got my radio on. So I said to the girls, I'm leaving, I'm on the radio. And you get a text through, like, can we get 3 Greek salads in 20 minutes? And I knew I was not far away, so I could get back. And I knew I had all my stuff on board to make it. So, no problems. No problems.
And that's exactly it. You can never say that's a problem.
No.
It always has to be, of course I can do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. You'll find a way to get it sorted.
And then you've got to backtrack, and you think, oh, my God, what do I need for a Greek salad? The onions, red, I've got those. I've got the olives. I've got the feta. Still got 1 packet of feta.
Because when you open a packet of feta, and this is something else that's really interesting. The boat you've just been on, I can't remember, it's about 42 metres, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically, you cannot have a kilo of feta in one block.
Well, I don't have space for it.
It's gone.
I know.
It needs to be small packs because you can open it now, and the next one might not be open for 4 days.
That's it.
And you need it to be fresh.
Yeah.
And you know what feta's like after 4 days? It smells like heaven in hell.
So obviously on this boat, because I'd worked on a bigger boat, I sort of got quite organised, and that really stood me in good stead to go from bigger to smaller.
Let's talk about that. So you went. The first thing you did, you got a job on a large vessel.
Large vessel
as a sous chef.
Sous chef, 20 crew.
Yeah. So you were responsible for crew food.
So one of my jobs was to do lunch and dinner for the crew. That's 40 covers you're doing by yourself.
Yeah.
And I really loved it. Pushed myself to add diversity to the food, different styles. Always have 3 or 4 salads for the crew, because they always like healthy food. Always have a carb, sometimes do a dessert, protein, and it's got to be different. It can't be doing bolognese twice in a day.
Would you be doing the cakes and the biscuits and the cookies and stuff like that
sometimes.
For breaks at 11 and afternoon and stuff?
Yeah, the 10 o'clock break. They have nothing. Everything shuts down at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
We've only been going 2 hours. So and sometimes if you have a spare load of pastries, you'll cook them off, and then at 3 o'clock, the watermelon platter that's come back from the. Because obviously, whenever they go on the swim platform, the chances are that you need a watermelon platter.
Guess.
Yeah, the chances are you need a watermelon platter. You go through about 4 watermelons a week, and these are huge.
So why is that such a big thing?
I don't know. I think after you've had a swim,
refreshing.
Yeah, exactly. And
good way to get a water intake.
That's it.
Not salty.
That's it. I used to know the Harry Styles song "Watermelon Sugar."
Oh yeah.
I always see on the cameras just see what's going on, and then you'd see that it'd just be coming out of the water. Always put Harry Styles on and radio the stews and be like, right, I'm just slicing the watermelon now, just in anticipation.
Because even if they haven't asked for it, they see it, they want it.
That's it, and you can kind of know that it's coming. So.
But I mean, even for some, like you've only worked for a very short time on yachts, and yet you already understand that. And I think it's about wanting your guests to have the best and easiest and most fun time. Food is a massive part of that.
Oh, yeah.
Fitting in a slice of watermelon as you get out of the water and you that's a really nice thing.
Yeah.
And you do want it to be a luxurious experience. You need to have a lovely platter of other fruit, of course. But that watermelon and knowing that people want it and being prepared for it and looking on the camera saying, right, they're out of the water, I'll slice it. That's a big, big part of it that some people wouldn't get if they're just joining the industry.
You've got to be you can't be rigid. You've got to be going with the flow, and like you know, breakfast, we touched on that, but breakfast is a free for all. So
buffet.
No, you know, like you do breakfast, and my version of breakfast is completely different to your version of breakfast.
Yeah.
And so you're doing a charter, and you've got the guests on for a week, and you work out how they want breakfast. And then you start all over again with different guests. And then you've got to figure it all out how you do breakfast. So what we would do on the bigger boat is we'd go in with smoked salmon platters, the cured meats, the ham platters. And we'd see how it works on day one. And then we would see that, okay, they haven't liked the ham plate, so
they want granola and yogurts and stuff like that.
So we'll go with the flow. And the head chef, Lee, used to take care of breakfast. And you'd literally be stood around twiddling your thumbs. He'd be working out his day, I'd be working on the crew food, and then it'd be like a barrage of about 10 different variations of breakfast. The sunny side up eggs, bacon, the muffins, the waffles, and he would also do a breakfast special, which I thought was a really good idea, because the idea of a special would be it was special every day, 7 specials, and it would also sort of, everyone would order the special, so you'd be prepping potentially 10 specials.
Do you think clients look forward to seeing what the special is?
Yeah, no, they do. So then
give me an example, a couple of examples of special.
I did just like really nice slow roast tomatoes on sourdough with fresh herbs.
Nice.
English muffin with hollandaise. Sort of
you
thing.
Make the English muffin?
No, just because you're spinning so many plates and you're trying to tick so many boxes. If you can just have an English muffin that does the job.
So would you say? I mean, look. We spoke about it before you even went on a yacht, because you came to see me here and we had a nice chat. And I said to you, you've got to know what corners to cut.
That's it.
And that's a super important thing, I think, for anybody, any chef who's coming into the industry, because you don't know.
Yeah.
You presume you can sit there filleting fish all day. Well, that's a fantasy.
You don't have time.
And the waste. Where you store it, it's on a boat at sea, you need it in a cold storage, you've got fish heads, you've got bones everywhere, you've got bags of crap. Basically, you need to reduce that as well. So having filleted fish is a great idea, because it's in your fridge or freezer, nicely stacked, very well organised, very easy to get an extra one if the client, the client says, oh, there's 5 more for dinner, whatever may happen.
Yeah.
But even things like a muffin, it's super important to know that everyone knows what a muffin is.
Yeah.
Store-bought muffins are the same.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say things like a homemade muffin or scone sometimes isn't really what someone wants.
No.
They want what they know, which is the store-bought thing.
And it's also the dish, as long as the poached egg is runny and the hollandaise is nice, and it's sort of, I use prosciutto ham just to add another level, or smoked salmon that they want. The muffin is just a vessel.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be
handmade.
That's it. So then with breakfast on the bigger boat, you're doing all of this, and then you've got some clients that will wake up at 2:30, and so you'll agree. So you think, right, okay, breakfast hasn't really happened today. They want lunch at maybe 2:00 because they had lunch yesterday at 2:00. No, they want breakfast at 2:00. They've just woken up for breakfast at 2:00. You haven't packed up, but and then you get a barrage of checks. It's only 5 guests, but it's all completely different. It's not like everyone's having a bacon sandwich times 5.
Yeah.
Could be pancakes and stuff like that. And one of the charters, coming back to pancakes, is that because they knew that the kids came on and they know that the chefs are always there, I would do like maybe 40 pancakes a day.
Wow, really?
All with Nutella. We went for about 6 jars of Nutella in a week.
Wow.
And these kids just love it. And because they know that they can ask the stewardesses and the stews for pancakes, because it's always there, or ice cream, or Oreo Oreo milkshakes at 2 a.m. And no, so this client we had on, they would stay up till very late, and obviously their timescale is very late now. So you do breakfast but like, you know, the client that we had was very unorganized, and they'd want lunch at 3 o'clock.
Well, on holiday, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, when you go on holiday, you don't see breakfast, lunch, and dinner as a 9 till 10, or 1 till 2, or a 7 till 8.
No.
See it as when I feel like it, because you're on holiday, and that's the advantage. And I think super yacht, it's super powering that problem.
Exactly.
And if you're on land, the restaurant's closed. You go, well, I'll force myself to have lunch at 1:45 when I don't really want it. But on a yacht, you have the ability to turn around and go, no, I'll have it at 4.
And especially when so I come from a chalet where we talked about earlier about how I saw breakfast. That was an eye opener for me. Like doing poached eggs at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And obviously this client, they wanted lunch at 3, but we don't want lunch at 3. It's 5:30 by the time they've got the shit together.
So when do you do dinner?
Well, whenever they want. 10:30 if they want it.
Yeah.
And we would organise dinner, and then they'd be like, no, we're actually going ashore. So what you've allocated for that day would be put on to next day. And you've got to be quite articulate. You've got to be, because you think in your mind, this is the menu we're going to do. But they'll wake up in the morning and say, we want Chinese dumplings and we want Chinese lunch.
Which I completely get. And
they're entitled to that. And, in your mind, you spoke about a dish with Madame and you're all ready to go. And you've got to put that aside. And then you've got to sort of work that back into it. So on the last boat, it was completely different. It wasn't charter. I was cooking for the owners. Only got 3 of them on board.
And it's a smaller vessel. And you were the head chef. So generally what you've done, just to give people a sort of indication, you've gone from your chalet in the Alps, where you've actually gone from restaurants and Michelin level restaurants, where you've obviously learned traditional culinary sort of techniques.
Fundamentals, yeah.
Fundamentals. Then you've gone to the Alps and you've done the ski season. Private chalet, I presume.
Yeah.
And did they have a lot of guests come in, or?
Yeah, they did. So I would write the menus. They weren't so demanding, or like they knew that breakfast was at the time.
Yeah.
They knew that they gave me control on dinner because I'd cooked for them before, so they knew my style.
You knew them before the chalet?
I had to do a cook-off for the job.
Oh, did you?
So
live in front of other chefs?
Yeah, at their restaurant. So they own a top restaurant in the UK.
Wow.
So I did a cook-off for their mystery box challenge, something like what we've done
Very
tonight.
similar to tonight, yeah.
Yeah.
But without smoked Wagyu?
Without smoked Wagyu, he gave me monkfish. Chef Mark gave me monkfish. And I made a dessert and cooked for the owners. So
cool.
I got the job. So they gave me autonomy, whereas you think, oh, brilliant. Before I came, I wrote like lots of menus. So I just have a game plan of, I need a starter, like just look down, right, courgettes, we'll do this, blah, 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 and canapes and stuff like that. And I had a good chat with Madame, had an hour's chat with them about preferences and stuff like that. And when I was stocking up the boat, I used you because I knew that in Italy, getting provisions would be a nightmare.
Ideally, you want to pick up small quantities in lots of different places.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the level that you've got to be at on a super yacht, you can't do that everywhere.
No.
Especially in super yachts, it has to be very good quality.
And everyone thinks
it's hard.
You go to the markets every day and it's all that romantic idea. You don't have time.
Well, not only do you not have time, but if you go to the market, it's for today.
Yeah.
Because that tomato's been in 35 degrees heat. And then put in cold storage overnight, it's fucked.
Yeah.
You've got to use it quite soon to get the best out of it. And I think that's another thing. People think, well, I can do 4 days shopping, and they can't.
No.
That's really for today. And then you've got to do it again the next day. So you don't have time, do you?
So all the protein, I got some like really nice stuff from you because I knew that Madame, when she'd gone through everything, she wanted the best. So I knew to get the best on board while I could. And I went to the Asian store in town because she likes a bit of Asian stuff like that. Like the little gyoza wraps and stuff like that. So when she says that I want dumplings, I've got them in the freezer somewhere.
Yeah.
And I've got like a massive holding stock of that. And then what I would do is just top up the fresh stuff. All my crew meat I tried to buy, and then I was just primarily just buying crew meat and just some other provisions.
But this is the other thing people don't on a smaller boat as the head chef.
You're everything.
You know that you've got to do the guest food.
Yeah.
But you've also got to cook for the crew. Yeah. And how many crew would be on that boat?
So on the boat I'm on at the moment, we've got 9 crew.
Right, 9 crew. It's not a small amount of people. It's not 3.
So you're doing 18 covers a day now.
just for the crew.
Yeah, 2 meals.
And that has to be at the right times because it has to be set.
Yeah.
It has to be a particular time. A lot of boats are doing 6 o'clock, 6:30 for crew meals.
Yeah.
But I've always found funny is I had the conversation with a chef. I think it was last year actually. A really nice guy. Basically, I said, "What time can I deliver?" He went, "Well, you can't come before 9 because we're doing breakfast and then cleaning down." He goes, and basically 11 o'clock we do morning tea, again biscuits or cake.
Yeah.
So I need half an hour, so I can't have it from 10:30.
Yeah.
He goes, and then lunch, straight into lunch. I've got to prep that and have it cooked. So that's, and that's cleaning up afterwards is 2 p.m.
Yeah.
He goes, and then we have another lunch break or afternoon tea, cake at 3, and we finish at 5. And I said, well, when the fuck am I supposed to when am I supposed to deliver? And he sort of looked at me and he went, "You can't. There isn't any time, mate.
Come whenever you can."
It's like 9:15 or 1:48.
So, like, obviously, you put so much as a chef. You put so much trust into provisioners to deliver, and I mean, if things happen in a restaurant in London, you'd lose your shit because you can, and that the service level of that from provisioners needs to be a bit higher, but. I just thought, if you bring me everything, that's great. And if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't come, I'll just adapt.
Yeah, we have to, yeah.
You can't be that rigid. I remember, so Madame's wanted sea bass branzino, which is like salt baked, and she said that she wants it on Tuesday. And I've got this beautiful sea bass, and I picked up a really good provisioner in Capri, really helpful. I constantly message her back and forth because I'm always forgetting things and always needing things. And they're really accommodating, really good. So get the sea bass in, like stonk him, and then they go out to some nice restaurant in Capri, Zuma, that they love and stuff. So, and then another 2 nights passes, and then she tells me she wants the sea bass on Friday. And I'm thinking, well, do I get another sea bass in, or do I keep that? So luckily I had it on very cold storage in the fridge, and it held up. So then I've done my salt baked sea bass, and I've gone out there and done it tableside, and they've loved it and everything like that. And same with the mussels I got from them. I was like,
so you did get good produce down there.
Yeah. I mean, that's one example of good stuff. And then there was another one where the croissants. What a nightmare that was. So I took on 20 croissants.
Yeah, you said something about croissants. You took some from us, didn't you?
Yeah, I wanted to get it all from you and be organised. So you put out croissants. And Madame always wants a basket of croissants every day, fresh. So obviously French make the best croissants, and we all know that. So
well, actually, it's interesting because a lot of people buy them. Look, I'm not having a go at anybody. Just some companies would just buy them from certain places, which I don't agree with. Mm-hmm. The reason ours are nice is because I've been working with that baker for 12 years.
Yeah,
I know his recipe. I know he makes it on site. And the problem in France is everyone thinks you go to France, you're going to get a great croissant. It's not true because 95% of bakeries you buy a croissant in are made out of town, a big factory, by the same company, and then they ship them to those places every morning.
Yeah,
it's difficult to find a bakery that actually makes their own, and there's only a handful
in this
around.
day and age now.
Say again?
And in this day and age, they're all cutting back. And
exactly,
cutting costs.
They're cutting costs. They've got to make a profit. Yeah. Taxes are high.
Price of butter.
Everything. It's crazy. So they've all, and these big corporations have found a solution to providing boulangeries with cheaper product.
Yeah.
The problem is the quality's gone down.
Yeah.
To be a boulangerie in France, you only need to cook one thing.
Right. Okay.
So they buy in the dough loaf.
Yeah.
And they bang them in the oven.
Right.
And they cook them. Sometimes they'll buy in the croissant pain au chocolat.
Yeah.
And they'll leave them out the day before. And they literally cook them in the morning.
Yeah.
They're still from the same company. They're not high quality.
Yeah.
And that's how they get away with being called a boulangerie. If you want quality, you have to get it from what's called an artisan, an actual person who makes it. They do it 4 or 5 in the morning. They're in cooking their croissant, making the dough and then making them. Mm-hmm. I said, "What? There's a TikTok channel. Sounds ridiculous. This does. There's a TikTok channel for a bakery in Paris where they make them all, and it's live from 3 a.m. every night."
Wow.
Don't even ask me how a freak like me found that out. But basically, They make it all fresh and it's all live on TikTok. It's brilliant. But you need to go to a bakery like that, and there isn't many. So you need your provisioner to know that, buy the best. So when they do come frozen in flat pack, like ours are in packs of 10, you put it in your freezer, you know anywhere you go, you've got great quality. Because if you go to Italy, it's a different pastry. You go to Greece, that's Fantasyland. Ain't happening.
So we've got the basket of croissants, and we never eat them. And the clients that I've been cooking for are so observant, and they're militant about detail and really militant about little things.
I love them.
That they can see things. So I've gone through the 12 croissants, the 20 croissants, cook them off, bake them, give them to crew because no one eats them. And we got to Italy, and I thought, oh my God, I need more croissants. I've got to keep up with this game of croissants. So I asked my provisioner to get me some and send me pictures and all this. And you don't know what you're going to get. So I got this bag of croissants and baked them off. And Mister's like, hang on a minute, these croissants have changed. Now he wants to eat the croissant. After like 4 or 5 days in, I've rinsed all my croissants for crew. And he's like, but I'm sorry, these croissants aren't good enough. And to the stewardess. So I personally went up to see him, and I said, look, I think, I made a mistake, and I said, I'm really sorry, I've run out of croissants. I bought some really good ones in France. I thought these ones from Italy were going to be at a level. I didn't realise they weren't be that good. I'm really sorry. And fortunately, his wife had bought this little Parmentier biscuit that he likes 2 days before, so I just put that in the oven a little warmer, and I said, just as a little sweetener, I've got this little Parmentier to give you instead, and I'll look into getting better croissants. So straight away, I'm on the phone to provisioners now, like, my God, I need croissants. Yeah. I need to address this issue.
Did you find a good one?
I found ones that were better. However, the bag came in a bag of 50. And my freezers are minimal. I'm rammed to the brim here. And I'm taking on 50 croissants. And out of those 50 croissants, I only need about 15.
Were they the big ones?
Yeah.
Not the minis?
Yeah.
Because the minis, I think, are the way to go.
Huge. So I asked the stewardess, I said, look, this is the situation. Should I get the 50 big ones, lump it, try and get them in the freezer, cook a few off for crew every day, just try and burn through freezer space, because my freezers are chocker now, and still trying to get through stuff.
She went, you're on your own, mate.
No, she's really good, actually. She's been really supportive to me as a green head chef, sort of on a new boat, and like we work together. And I said, look, like we're in the same boat, literally. I'll help you, and if it's a problem, I'll take it on. I'm not like your problem, my problem, or like a war. They said, no, I'd get them. So I got them, and we started eating croissants, and we're a lot happier. So it's worth doing that.
Yeah.
And they saw that I listened, I absorbed that, and they appreciated that.
Yeah. But it just goes to show that, in certain countries, you're going to find a product that's superior.
Yeah.
If you go to Italy, the tomatoes should be amazing.
Yeah.
Now, they're not always, but they should be. And that's the other problem you have as a chef. You go to Italy, you order some tomatoes because you're right down near Sicily or something from a supplier, and they're shit.
Yeah.
And the client is like, how?
They're looking
at
Italy
in August, and the tomatoes are shit. And you're like, you can't win that,
I'm really sorry. So we had an issue where, well, not an issue, but fortunately, I sort of took on a lot more than I needed, so you can be selective and sort of learning just to, order 3 punnets of strawberries to pick out the red ones and just allow a bit of grace period. And
you have to understand with fresh produce, some of it's going to go to waste.
Yeah.
Or maybe not waste, maybe it goes to the crew because it's not quite at the level you'd want to give to the client. There's nothing wrong with it, taste-wise, and maybe visually, it's not, on the cover of Vogue.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that. And a lot of chefs will order extra salad leaf knowing they lose 20%. Yeah. Easy 20% without even trying. You have to be prepared for that, don't you?
And that's before you've factored into the fact that the freezer and the fridge frosts up at the back, and if you store stuff in a certain area because the galley's old, can't be in that fridge, and it got to be there, and you've got to be looking at everything. Every day I would get up and just walk about, check that the fridge was still on, check that the freezer was still on at the right temperatures, check that the stock was there. So what's happened is, we've taken on we've done a provision order. I spent a day and a half organising it all. Quite happy with it. Great. We're on anchor, and Madame. So we arranged that the earliest we can deliver is 12. And the waters are quite stormy where we are, and it's quite rough. And they want to get going, And the captain's come to me and he said, "Look, is there any way we can just cancel this order, or we'll pay for it? Do you need the stuff now?" I'm like, what do you mean? After a day and a half trying to sort it out, I'm happy with it, blah, blah, blah. And of course, they send a tender to shore, and I don't have time to physically leave the boat because I'm cooking crew lunch to go and check it all off and be happy, blah, blah, blah. So I've ordered like 1 truffle. They sent in 4 because they know the boat's paying big dollars still, you know.
Do you think that's why they do it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Was it an agent or provisioner? Without saying the name.
I honestly, I can't remember.
Because basically, I think all provisioners are judged by the worst experience, maybe, and everybody fucks up at some point.
Yeah.
That's natural. There's multiple people involved in that chain and multiple suppliers, and hundreds, literally on some orders, hundreds of line items. I can have a fruit and veg order that's 120 lines.
Yeah.
So that's basically just fruit and veg. Then you've got your meat, your fish, dry goods, dairy, frozen, so on and so forth, specialist items, Japanese, Asian, Mexican, whatever it may be. Even Indian produce is coming out, used a bit more now. So you could have easily on an order 500, 600, 700. I've done orders over 1,000 line items.
Yeah.
The amount of suppliers involved in that chain, however long you have, there's going to be something that's going to go completely tits up.
Yeah.
My job is obviously to solve the problems as they happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not pushing on to anyone. But I know that if you go to an agent who doesn't know food as well, doesn't have the constant supply that they need and the quality control, because they're not chefs maybe.
Yeah.
Again, no
disrespect to them.
Disrespect to anybody. Everyone's working hard. It's impossible sometimes to get an order right, even if you know every product and you know every supplier and you've checked everything. There'll always be something. Somebody in the warehouse will put the wrong product on the wrong pallet, or turn around, put it down. Somebody else has picked it up and it's fucked off to Naples. Like, oh my god,
what's happened?
And you don't know how.
Yeah.
You can't have your eye on everything all the time. Again, it's not an excuse. It's just basically the truth. But an agent isn't a provisioner, so the chances are they're not going to understand quantity.
Yeah.
And I've always said, if a 40-metre boat comes to me and I look at their order and it says 100 grams of saffron, I'm not going to deliver that.
No, that's a lot.
Stupid.
But you could do it.
Well, an agent,
about £900.
Yeah, an agent wouldn't know.
Yeah.
They would be like, 100 grams of saffron, it's expensive, but yachts are expensive. They wouldn't know what that's used for. They probably never use saffron cooking. You know, unless somebody's having a bath with 10 grams of saffron in it a day.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need it. So it's a crazy thing to deliver. And the chef will go, okay, yes, I did order 100, but obviously I didn't mean that.
Yeah.
And that is the difference between a provisioner and an agent.
And also with your ordering, you've got to be quite on it because you don't physically have a lot of space to store stuff.
Yeah.
So then I've ordered, I can't remember, and it's coming like massive things. And I'm like, my God, I just don't have space for it. There's a reason why I ordered 6.
You want small packs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, or just small amounts. So I've got these tomatoes and they're like half green. And, you know, we all want a red tomato, and the guy owns the boat, the red tomato with his salad, which I get. And he'll come to me be like, Peter, these tomatoes are green, we can't have them. So I'm like, we're setting sail now. You know, like, so basically, you know, we've gone from cancelling the provisions. I'm like, no, please, like, let's just take it on.
I need food.
Please, I just want to have a long last provision. So we get it. And it's just, some of the stuff's just crap. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to address this now. And I'm thinking, if he orders tomato salad, which you can do or whatever, I need to make sure I need to get some good tomatoes quite soon. And you're thinking, where are we going to be and stuff? And you get to Anchor, and then you go into Portofino, and I thought it was a Sunday. Half the shops was bloody shut. There's only one shop in Portofino.
They're always shut.
Yeah. Then in the afternoon, they're always shut. You go ashore, and fortunately, I went ashore with Madame and a friend, and there was a day they had Caesar salad, and I thought, my God, if they order Caesar salad again, I don't have like Cos or Romaine or Gem to give them. And she came to see me. Every morning she'd come and see me and just talk to me about what she wants. So she would know, a bit of a control freak. Not freak, should we say?
We'll cut that out.
Yeah. So, a bit of a control person.
No, but the thing about it is, it does feel like that. And I can see how is it. I mean, look, I've talked to hundreds of chefs, have done over 450 chefs I've worked with in the last few years. I know exactly how it feels as a chef. It does feel like they're being controlling, but they're not.
That's how it is.
And you know that. It's basically, you know, to put yourself into their shoes. And I know it's not serious. It's not testicular cancer. No one's dying if the tomatoes are fucking green. Okay.
No.
But it's not about how important it is on the whole scheme of the world. If you've worked really hard, built your company, managed to sell it or make great money, and your thing is sailing around fucking Capri on your own super yacht that you've spent years working hard to earn, and you've employed these people at high wages, and you know you kind of, I think you have the right to be picky.
100%.
You know, and you agree with that too.
Yeah, and
even if I go to a restaurant, I deserve to be picky.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter whether I don't own a yacht. If I just go to a restaurant, if I go to a restaurant and they serve bolognese and it's cold, I have a right to say, what the fuck's going on?
You're paying for it, aren't you? Yeah.
So but I know what it's like on that cauldron of a yacht. There's no time off. No. When the owners are on, you're on there. Like you've been on a month on this job. You just had. They just needed a chef for a month to finish the season.
Yeah, boss trip.
Yeah. So you've had a month with them every day.
Yeah.
There's no day off.
No.
It's basically work from your start to the end of your contract, all the way through. Yeah. Look after clients, make sure they've got everything they want. Morning, noon, and night. Cook.
Can't really say no.
Cook for 9 other crew.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah.
And make sure the boat's provisioned when you've got a very small fridge and freezer and storage area.
Yeah.
That's fucking hard.
But luckily, like they knew the situation, and as much as I thought that they were being quite picky and testing us. So the day and by me going to talk to the mister about the croissants, he appreciated that.
Yeah.
And you've got to...
People just want to know the score.
Yeah, and I thought, well, I need to, there's no hardship here. I need to tell him.
I know next season when you get back, wherever you may be working on the same vessel, they may ask you to come back. You may go somewhere else. You'll probably over-order croissant.
Yeah, well, you need to.
Basically because of what's happened,
And every step you're learning. And it was nice when the owners left. They sat everyone down, and they said, we haven't had the boat that long.
Yeah, you're sacked. You're sacked.
Oh, it's terrifying. So they said, we haven't had the boat that long, and we're really grateful. We can see everyone's tried, and we've been quite testing, and we can see you've all adapted, and you're all giving it your all. And we're really grateful, and the stuff there's boat owners that we need to know and stuff that we need to learn. And Mister was like, we'd love to see you come back, because he likes consistency with people.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And he knows what he's getting.
Well, it's their home.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean?
And if they're on board 5-6 times a year, they don't want to have staff changing. They want a relationship with that. They want to know that they like the plates at 85 degrees, red hot. They want to know that needs to be on the table. They want to know that the cutlery's done like that.
Yeah.
But you as a new chef, you've got to figure it all out. And you go through the hardship. I mean, we were serving... Madame wanted this Asian dinner, so I've done XO clams, which I thought were banging, and I've served them in a bowl, and she's like, I don't want it in a bowl.
Right.
I want it on a plate. I'm like, all right, okay.
But you would always naturally put that in a bowl.
Yeah, when the boat's rocking like that. Well, yeah. I thought it made sense. You get all the sauce and stuff, and then she started telling the girls that she wants it on a plate and stuff, and you're like, right, sure. You can't be pedantic. You've just got to go with the flow, and you've got to...
But it does feel, like I said, when you're in that environment, it can feel personal.
Yeah.
You've got to... That's the other thing about this job. You have to take it professionally, not personally. That's super important in yachting, because I have it every day. Every day, there's something that goes wrong in a provisioning company.
Yeah.
It's food. It's fresh produce.
Yeah.
Stuff doesn't arrive. The stuff arrives too much of it. It's the wrong fucking colour.
Yeah.
It's the wrong shape.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be. And all the staff here, I always say to them at the start of the season, I personally love you all.
Yeah.
You all come to work, you do the job, we get on, we have the best time we can. Mm-hmm. If you're getting a bollocking, it's a professional bollocking, so we don't get it wrong again, because if we get it wrong once, we lose the client.
Yeah.
Because if you do your job badly, because I've done mine badly, you could lose your job. You ain't using me again.
Yeah.
You're never going to call me.
No, that's it. And I remember, so Madame texted me and she said, I'm just at the fish shop. Is there anything you want? And I thought,
yeah, can you get some sea bass?
Yeah.
Clams. She's like, fuck, I was joking.
So I've got everything in the freezer. I've got tuna. I've got whatever I can pull out of a drop of a hat. Carbonara prawns, all the good stuff. And I thought, just, be nice. I'll let her have this. I'll say, maybe just some clams and some some nice langoustines maybe if they're good. Comes back with like 3 Dorades, bloody
really
mussels. Like she brought out the ocean back.
she's gone to town.
Yeah, because she thought she was being really cool.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's good if you've got.
It gives you a good indication of what she wants to eat.
Yeah, no, and I thought, well, but partly initially I thought, oh, flipping nightmare, because I haven't got enough space for this. I've already got half the stuff that she wants in allocation. And
then you cook the clams, you send them up, and she goes, I want clams. And you go up and say to her, you fucking bought them.
Yeah, that's it. So then, so you've got this Dorade.
Quite funny, though.
Whole sea bass, and she comes to me and she's like, I was like, how do you want it? And so I want it filleted, just simply done. So like, you've got to be able to fillet fish. You've got to be quite a competent chef. You're getting fish that's filleted and it saves you, but at time, you've got to fillet a Dorade, like, and you have it ready. So yeah, no problems. I just sauce, blah, blah, blah. And then there was only 2 of them dining that night and done some nice veg, and friend was a bit ill, whatever. And all of a sudden, friend comes down and it's like, sat at the table and so they've just cooked and just did like simple broccoli with almonds and a nice white wine cream sauce, because just mix it up a bit. And some boiled potatoes, and just allocated enough. I've only just cooked enough for the 2 of them, and I knew it was only 2, so we set the table for 2. Got the Dorade for 2, and friends, the vegetables look nice. Is it possible to get a side of vegetables? I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So then you just hot pan on, got in the courgette extra thin, got some spinach here, just trying to make a nice bowl of veg, like just like that, and it all changes. And just when you think you've got the ball in control, it changes again.
Yeah, everything does change. It's the same for us in many respects. You know, you could say to me, right, we're having an order for Tuesday, and then overnight on Sunday, the boss says I'll be there on Monday.
Yeah,
that's it. You're gone by Tuesday. It's no longer a possibility. It's out the window.
We were trying to align that, and we were really stuck in Via just waiting for the boat to be signed off to go, and we couldn't.
So what would you say? You're in a rare position where you're a new, as they call a green chef. Obviously, you're not green and chefing in a kitchen, but you're green to yachting.
Yeah.
So you're not anymore. You've done a season, but you did 3 months on a large vessel in a team, big team, 20 crew. You're a sous chef. You did the crew food, and then you've moved at the end of the season. After that contract was over, you got a month on a private smaller vessel, 40 odd meters. How do you feel? What's the main difference between those 2 roles that you took? And are you really glad you did it the way you did it?
I am, yeah. Even though I probably wouldn't have wanted to be sous chef, and everyone always has this, like, stamina, always has this thing about titles. Well,
ego, sort of, I'm a head chef, I should be a head chef.
Yeah, I must be a head chef, And I was like, well, I've got an opportunity here. I accepted that I was new. I accepted that I'd have to do crew food and progress and learn. My God, I learned so much with Lee.
A good guy. He's a good guy.
Such a good cook. Such a nice guy.
He's been doing it a while. He knows what he's talking about.
He knows exactly.
There's no bullshit with him.
He knows his cuisines as well. You ask him to do a Japanese menu, or do a Japanese menu like that.
Yeah, he'll just smash it out.
And I'm stood there like, my
that's
God,
a rock star chef in yachting.
He is that guy.
Yeah.
And but when I first started, and he would be telling me about the menu, and I'd be looking at the clock thinking, my God, he's got 2 hours to do this. He'd be smash it out. He knew exactly what he could do. He knew exactly the cuts of tuna and the techniques, and he had all the gear and the idea. And that was, so I learned so much from him and how he organised himself.
Because it's not just cooking. It's the organisation that's super important. I think if you come from a background, a restaurant trade, you know that everybody's got their role in that galley. On a yacht, you need to have all of those roles sorted yourself, because you have to pick up everything constantly and be on top of everybody. I mean, how many were in your galley on that vessel?
Just me and him.
Yeah,
but it's a huge galley, absolute huge.
But that's a big job for 2 people.
Yeah, but we had a good relationship. He knew that he employed me, and he knew I was quite competent as a chef. And he gave me a lot of freedom, and he'd ask me ideas. It was nice having that to bounce off, and I would write some menus and would collaborate.
When you first started on the vessel, did he test you?
What, personally? Or?
Like just test you and just to see where your skill level was, and can you bang out this? Can you do me a hollandaise? Can you do that? Can you do that? And you just crack on, and he'd be like, okay.
Over time, and I'd be, I could. It's good because we got on so well, and I could see when he needed a hand. because when you get the barrage of breakfast checks coming in, and they all come all together, I could see like where to step in and just put a pan down for him, or just quickly scramble 3 eggs, because they know, slice the toast, put it, so I stood next to the grill. So you've got to be switched on. Meanwhile, you're doing crew food, and then
if you have to be told what to do constantly, it won't work.
No, I think if you want to get into this industry, you've kind of got to be like senior sous chef on land, senior chef de partie, even sous chef. You couldn't come in as a commie on a. Well, there's only 2 of you. You need to be a good level. I think if you were a commie, you'd go on like a 5-6 chef, bigger vessel.
Big vessel, yeah.
And you've got to be, like I was saying about the fish, you've got to be able to fillet fish. If you want fresh bread every day, you've got to know how to be making fresh bread. You've got to...
And not just a couple of times.
Yeah, every day.
You've got to have done it all the time. You've got to really know what to do, haven't you?
And you've got that, and you've got to be quite composed in yourself. You can't freak out. You can't, because you're on a boat and everyone's under high pressure.
Yeah.
And they don't want some hothead that's just going to go ballistic because the tomatoes are wrong and start losing his shit. They don't want that.
Yeah.
And you piss off the whole crew.
Yeah.
You've got to be quite calm, quite cool and collected. And that's something, again, I learned from Lee, because he's so calm, cool, collected. And I was like, why did he lose it?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's how he is.
But there's a lot of chefs out there that, look, I deal with all sorts. Some of the chefs completely lose their shit at the smallest thing.
Yeah.
And I've dealt with a lot of chefs for many years now. And I think the calm chefs who, when something's not perfect, they know how to deal with it.
Yeah. That's
a super important skill in this industry. Fuck my business. I'm not talking about whether or not somebody would ever use me again. That's not what I'm talking about. Chef's life on your yacht.
Yeah.
You will go completely insane if you don't know how to deal with one product not being perfect the way you want, or the fish was filleted and there's something wrong with it. There's like you open your salmon, it should have been pin boned and trimmed, and you open it and you can feel a bone.
Yeah.
Well, if you lose your shit, mate, psychologically, people talking about mental health.
Yeah,
that's the surefire way to lose your mind.
Yeah,
is feel one bone and go, well, fucking on the phone to the provisioner, shouting and screaming because there's a bone in it. It happens.
Or
pull it out.
Yeah.
And crack on with the day. It's not the most serious thing.
Yeah.
And I understand when a chef's on a boat, the boat's paying a lot of money.
Yeah.
To provisions for quality produce, but if there's a couple of bones in that, as you feel it, you just take them out.
Yeah, that's it.
Move on with your day. Don't allow it to destroy your life, because I see chefs who it does.
Yeah.
And they have a breakdown.
You're not going to get
and
very
they're unhappy people.
You're not going to get very far, and your food isn't going to be health progressive. And I think there's a great thing by Danny Myers. He says that a mistake, obviously it happens in top restaurants, it's about how you come back from it. And you've got sort of 3 options, like talking about the croissants. And I was explaining this to the stewardess. I said, look, I could ignore it and just keep serving the same crap croissants and just have them pissed off. I could maybe not serve croissants, and then that completely ignores...
And no one's happy.
It completely ignores what Madame wants, because she wants a nice pizzazz.
She just wants to see it.
Yeah, she just wants the whole basket.
And maybe they eat one.
And the whole pizzazz. And that. And then... I can't remember what the 3rd option is. Or address it. So I chose to address it.
Jump overboard.
That's it, yeah. So, and then it's certain things, and you do a fruit plate, and then they'll tell you that they don't want kiwi on the fruit plate one day.
What is it about people not liking kiwi?
Oh, I don't know, but meanwhile their friend's eating a kiwi.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
I love kiwi, but I like golden kiwi.
Yeah.
That's just my thing. Ever since I discovered a golden kiwi, basically, I can't eat normal kiwi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like pork. Ever since I discovered Iberico pork, fresh Iberico pork, I kind of don't eat a lot of porks. When I do, I'd like to have a Iberico rack.
That so Madame just wanted one night. She just wanted some protein and some nice veg. So just done like really nice simple Provençal veg, like a nice like herbal dressing and a pork chop. And I just served it super nice. And it was after I'd done some really nice mussels. And I get called up to Sundeck to see Madame. And
what time is this?
It's about 10:30 at night. It's going, a bit earlier this night.
Are you a bit panicky?
Yeah, a bit nervous. Called up to Sundeck, and I was like, do you want to see your pizza? So, yeah, no problems. So that pork was fantastic. And I said, yeah, I kind of knew it would be, because it's in Iberico. I put a lot of trust. And then You know, they want a whole story, and a lot of these clients want a story.
Fuck, it's so true. Yeah,
They need a story behind things, and even if you haven't got, that's something I learned from Lee. He could tell you a story, and you've already bought into the product, even if you haven't made it or you haven't got it together. You've already sold the story.
Yeah.
So like you go, my dad would come and see me or call me up to Dex or to a Sun Lounge or whatever, and one day she asked me for creme caramels, and I was like, oh god, creme caramels, quite tricky.
Not made that for a while.
Yeah, not made that for a while. Scales don't work. You know, I explained this to the captain the other day. I was like, so what do you mean the scales don't work? Get a new set. I was like, no. When the boat's rocking, the scales don't work. Even in port, we get a slight tolerance. It's not accurate.
Fuck, you should make a gyro. A gyro, yeah.
They probably exist, but
I'm going to Google that later. I'm going to text you the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just eyeball it.
That's super interesting. I'd never even considered that, but yeah.
And maybe other boats have got stable.
Well, it stabilises, but still, it's still moving.
On a bigger boat, I still found that. But on a smaller boat, you find it a lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more.
Because if you're reliant on scales, you're fucked.
Yeah, pretty much. So I managed to make choux pastry, which, as you know, it needs to be weighed properly. But I managed to make it. So I made my creme caramels, and the captain was saying that the waters are going to be choppy where we're going and all this. So I was like, fuck, like, quick, I'll quickly make creme caramels now. I've got an hour before we set sail. Google it, Delia Smith, gonna have a good recipe, like so many yolks, so many sugar.
The internet's a game changer, isn't
it? That's it, yeah. Or AI, I've got the app AI, I love it. So I banged them out, made them, and then we've done a crossing. They're all a bit rough. A couple of ham and cheese toasties on the way. I kind of knew this was coming, so I've stocked up on ham, got my cheese ready, got everything allocated. Because you love a ham and cheese toasty.
What cheese are you using for that?
Just she told me off, actually. I used like Staff cheese slice, but she's like, if it could be a cheddar, it'd be better.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, yeah. So I made sure I got cheddar. And then you do in Italy, you buy a package cheddar, and it's like 1,000 slices in a pack, but you've got to have it. So you've just got it. This provisional that doesn't know stuff. So I served the creme caramels, came out perfectly. I'll show you a picture of them later. And she said, wow, we were amazed how you made it, and it came out level. And I was like, oh yeah, it's a bloody nightmare trying to make it, and had it jacked up in the oven on paper and all this. And she's like, wow, we're so impressed. The short of it is, I made them an hour before we set sail, when the boat was in Ischia, before we set sail. So
I actually love a creme caramel, but I haven't had one in so long.
A good one as well.
Good one.
Not the ones out Carrefour.
Yeah, and it's the same with creme brulee.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore creme brulee, but it has to be homemade, fresh. This bullshit you get in the fucking president packet, where you pour it in, bang it in the oven for 20 minutes, and you're rocking and rolling, put a bit of sugar on the top. That's bullshit. Yeah. Actual proper homemade. And you know what? I'd never made. I was watching. I went to a restaurant and it was shit. I was with a couple of people. It's complete dog shit in Antibes. Slashed a couple of years ago. And at the end of the meal, and the guy knew me. I've been floating around for years. I think the guy who owns the place had seen me in Metro. He used to see me a bit in there. In the young days when it was just me on my Todd running around like a prat with a phone in a van. And he used to see me there every day. So basically, he came over. And I said, do you want a dessert to finish off your meal? I didn't want to say to him, your food shit. Usually I would, but I knew him. I didn't want to be rude because it would have felt a little bit, disrespectful, considering the food was fucking terrible and I was paying for it. But anyway, he said, do you want a dessert? I went, is there anything like homemade? He went, the creme brulee is famous. I went, famous? Fucking, I'll have one of them. Bring it on. Because I love a creme brulee. It was out of a president packet, and it had been made 3 days earlier and left in a fridge. It all dried out. It was like paste, when you put your foot.
It gets that crack where the moisture gets
skin on the top of it, like you would on a hot milk. It's basically just complete and utter dog shit. And that night, I said to myself, I'm going to make a creme brulee. I've never made it before because I'm terrible at pastry. Basically, savoury is my thing because you can put whatever you like in it and you've always got an excuse because that's just the way I like it. But with sugar, it's a different game, innit?
It is.
You've got to get it right. And I'm not very good at that.
There's no hiding. I made a lemon tart and it just came out right and I was so happy. And I haven't made it with scales and just loosely following the recipe and scaling it down in the mould I've got and stuff. and luckily it came out all right.
Yeah,
so,
but it's a win when that happens.
Yeah, it was quite a lot of wins.
But things like lemon tart, creme brulee, creme caramel, tiramisu, these are all things that should be freshly made and amazing. There really isn't a need for them to be shit. I think even I don't do creme brulee a lot, but I made a really lovely one. It didn't look... I made all the pastry and everything from scratch, but it didn't look amazing. Yeah. But fuck me, it tasted kick-ass. And I preferred that.
And like I was saying earlier, like if you're not a chef de partie that's done every section for a long time, and the head chef, and it's only two of you, and maybe you're sous chef and on a big boat, and the head chef's like, right, I want 30 creme brulees. You got to make it happen. You got to know competency about how to do it. Like Lee would ask me to do, like, I need some tiramisus, and he put a lot of trust in me. And I'd be like, right, how many tiramisus do you want? Right, is this mould all right? Right, Lee, I need X, Y, and Z. I'm going to just crack on and make 20 tiramisus.
Did you prefer working on a big boat or being a head chef on a smaller boat?
Personally, I prefer being a head chef on a smaller boat, but I had to do the sous chef role on a bigger boat to learn everything, and I sucked it up, and I learned so much. And it's just different how you take provisions on. We would take provisions on every 10 days because the fridge is 20 times the size. It's a walk-in fridge. You can walk in. The freezer's a walk-in fridge.
Yeah.
So
I just remember a few texts that we had when you were on the other vessel, the big vessel.
Yeah.
And you were just always buzzing. You completely. And when I spoke to you, because we'd have the odd phone call in the summer, you were just buzzing. I mean, you just absolutely loved it. And I think you have to love it.
Yeah.
And if you do love it, you soak everything in like a sponge, and it's given you that ability to jump on a vessel, maybe only at the end of the season for a month, but you've achieved something most chefs wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's you've gone from the UK and a restaurant background.
Yeah, and you've a lot of private work as well.
Yeah.
Which helps.
Well, exactly. You've done all the private stuff already. So you've taken a big knock to the pride by going to do a sous chef and crew cooking. You're like, hold on a minute. But a lot of chefs wouldn't have done that. But what you learn by doing that is invaluable.
Yeah.
And that 3 months has paid dividends, in my opinion. That's investing in you.
Yeah.
That's you saying, I don't care about the cash. I don't care about the job. I need to learn. Yeah. And now you've learned that. It's allowed you to go to this job and smash it out of the park.
Yeah, and I think I was always trying to deliver the best crew food I could ever from my heart. Like, I remember on my last day, and I'd done like butter chicken, cauliflower with like masala cauliflower with sesame dressing, onion seeds, and maybe naan bread. Gone in with a rice, gone in with wajita.
The reputation you get,
you know,
as a chef for doing crew food like that,
yeah,
is unbelievable. You go down as a legend.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And also on a boat, the level of crew food has to be good.
Yeah.
You know, like in a restaurant, you're tired and you might bang up a few bad crew meals. And I remember on the boat I was on, I'd done one that wasn't, my heart wasn't in it one day, and it wasn't great. And people were like, "Pete, you all right?" Like, this is
because you put the level here.
Yeah. And I made like a cauliflower risotto and cauliflower fritters or something, and I thought in my mind I saw 20 cauliflowers, and I thought I need to use them. And they're like, "Why is he doing it? Giving us cauliflower 4 different ways? Like, we want something a bit more." But no, I worked through that, and yeah. So
that's quite interesting that you saw the cauliflower and went, need to use the cauliflower. I'll do it for.
Well, yeah, I just had this, you know, because you get tired. You're doing a lot of hours. It's hard. But then towards the end, I got really into it, and I just finished on a high.
So when you were working in restaurants, is there anywhere you worked with no? Because you have a good background.
Yeah, I worked for Galvin Brothers in London, Michelin Star, so I learned a lot there. Friends for life. They had a good family ethos. It was a family business, and they had a team ethics and stuff. So it was really good. I learned a lot of stuff there. I worked for a guy called Gregory Marchand in Paris. Again, family orientated, and learnt a lot from Greg. Just his style was sort of classic, but in a modern way. And as part of the team to get the star in Paris, which was quite special.
And how do you, when you look at the food that they bring in, how particular are they, Michelin chefs, about the produce? Are they checking it constantly?
Yeah, it's got to be the best. And I think that transpires to yachting. If you've got a beautiful American pork chop, you've got a lot of faith and you know what that product is. And there's no point messing around with it and trying to mince it and make a patty out of it or do something really clever. Saying that though, she did ask me for pork dumplings and I didn't have any pork, and I told her I didn't have any pork, but then I just got the American pork. I had like one chop left in reserve and just finally minced it because I don't have a mince. I just chopped it by hand and made her pork dumplings. And she's like, oh wow, you said you didn't have any pork. It's like, don't worry, madam, I've sorted it out. She's like, oh, that's great, you know. So
but American pork in that would just add a bit of and give it more flavour. I mean, amazing.
See, and they appreciate these little details and these, you know, yeah.
What was the worst dish you cooked in the summer?
Oh, blimey. I wouldn't say it was the worst, but it was the oddest. We had this Dutch client on, and he, I forget the name of it. What's the rice that they like? Congee. So we'd have to do congee every day. So it's basically, I bought a bow book before they came, and I was reading up about congee.
So with the spores?
No, congee is like rice. That's koji.
Koji.
Congee is like a...
That's different.
Yeah.
Okay.
So koji is the spores that they do.
The Japanese stuff.
Congee, I think it's congee is like rice. It's a bit like rice pudding, but with like fish stock or chicken stock. And then you have the...
I can't imagine anything worse.
They have the century eggs, and they have like a whole garnish to go with it.
Century. I mean, yeah, somebody called me one day and said we need 100 century eggs.
It was probably us.
Was it you? Was it Lee? Maybe it was Lee.
Yeah,
yeah,
probably was. Yeah, because we were in the mess. We needed
the black eggs.
Yeah, it's nuts. So every morning we'd want congee, and he loved it. We managed to get it down. Like it took us a few days. And
how do you make it?
You basically cook out rice for a long time in like a fish stock or a chicken stock, and then it has like I can't remember the garnish now, like maybe diced shallots and cucumber, a little pot of soya, the century egg.
What do you do with the century egg?
Just dice it up, and they sort of, it's a bit like a poke bowl sort of style, and you just mix it in.
So what is a century egg? Because I think people may not know what that is, but it's an Asian thing.
It is.
I mean, it's based on the fact that it's 100 years old, of course, but it's not.
I think it's a process.
Is it fermented?
I think so. Yeah. If I'm honest, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. But
because I remember
Riviera Gourmand do good packs of.
I remember getting maybe it was Lee sent me a message. Yeah. Because I remember getting it and went, I know I can get them, but nobody's ever asked for them before. You know?
Or that amount as well.
Yeah, it's quite a lot, wasn't it?
And the thing as well, then after charter, it's great because all that food will go to crew.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. I'd say it like Mecca. Oh my God, I've got so much food.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to eat 100 century eggs.
No. So, I mean, it's going to be left on the buffet, innit? Every time.
I think we just lost them. I think they...
Yeah. And so... what do you think's going to happen next for you? What's the plan? I mean, you've just done 4 months in the summer, in the south of France, and in fact all over Europe, but based out here. Yeah. And now you're going to be doing what? You're going to be leaving, going back to the UK.
Yeah, I'd like to. So both the boats I was on are both going to the shipyard. Now is the time where they go to shipyards, boats and stuff, or they do the Atlantic crossing, or they do the Caribbean crossing. So I'm going to go to. I'd like to get to Japan.
Yeah.
I'd also like to do a couple of stages in the UK. One of which is Top Restaurant that my owners of the chalet in the Alps own. This Top Restaurants. There's opportunities to do that for a little bit, and then I'll be starting in December back in the private chalet.
Same chalet.
Same chalet. We've just done the promotion for that now, and then that'll take me to April, and then 100% getting back on a boat.
Yeah,
I just love it.
And what will you be looking for?
Probably head chef. Maybe 40 down. 40 to 30 down. I wouldn't want to be head chef on a big boat. 60, I wouldn't want that. It's too much. But 40, maybe 30 meter.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the 30 meters, they don't do long crossings. They sort of weave in and out, and you can go to the markets and it can be nice.
Yeah.
But I really like the team I'm with now, and hopefully I made a good impression with the owners, and hopefully come back to this boat. It's having a complete galley refit. It's having a complete renovation. They haven't had it long. They're investing in it, which is a good sign.
And you could be part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good sign that they're investing in the boat. They're not just like, oh, we're not going to invest in the galley. Because a lot of the time it's an afterthought.
Mm.
You see the galley and there's no fridge space. Like today, the architects came on board and they were amazed. And you're just sort of juggling stuff around.
Yeah.
You don't have space.
I think every centimetre that you give to the galley is
appreciated.
Is part of the owner's area that they're not having.
That's it.
And I think that's why they try and minimise it as much as they can, because there is only so much space.
Yeah.
If you've got a 40 metre, you want 40 metres. You don't want 39 or 38. And so you're always going to try and push that galley into the smaller space while still providing a galley that allows them to have the food that they want.
Exactly.
And, you know, some boats, you get a massive foodie who's had it built and the galley's, I mean, kick-ass, like unbelievable. But, you know, I've been on a lot of boats. I mean, I've been on 100-metre boats where the galley is a joke.
Yeah.
And the chefs have a break day. You could do one summer and then you want to shoot yourself. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard summer. I remember one 99-metre, basically, the fridges were not even on the same level. There were 2 floors down at the other end of the boat.
We had that on the big boat.
Chef walked me. Yeah. I went to see him. He showed me the galley. I was utterly shocked. And actually, the walk-through for the whole crew area was through the galley.
Wow.
So the kitchen porter had 3 chefs, because it was obviously a 99-metre. We had 3 chefs, and the kitchen porter, the only thing he ever did was he just did that all the time, because every time somebody walked past, he had to be straight so they could get past, because the sink was in the hallway.
Yeah.
It was bizarre.
But I love the galley now, and I almost felt like saying to them, you know, don't bother refurbishing it. But it was different because I was doing 3 covers. It'd be bloody hard if I had to do 16 out of that.
How many people sleep on that? 12?
Yeah, 12 to 16.
10 to 12 guests?
Yeah, maybe. So it'd be hard. Just doing a plate layout for that would be hard.
And crew food.
And crew food at similar times. But also, I've got all the equipment. You know, I've got a Thermomixer, and that does a lot of work for me.
Yeah.
The KitchenAid. They're almost like sous chefs having this equipment. And, like, I'm not a big fan of sous vide, but it's great. I use it. I just set the machine up, set it at the temperatures, put crew food in there, come in the morning, it's done. Or if I have an afternoon, I take a break, set it off in the water circulator thing, and it's just done.
Yeah.
So I'd be a fool not to use that and adapt my techniques.
I think that's important. You need to adapt, because you know that cooking 12 steaks in a galley of that size for 12, mate, and from rare all the way through to well done, mate, that's hard.
Yeah, and also
hard in a restaurant.
On an induction stove that cuts out, it doesn't give you the same power. And it just cuts out all the time. And you've only got 2 pans that you can only get 3 steaks in, so you have to do 4 turns on that. And then your ovens are a certain size and stuff. You've got to be working smart.
Yeah, it's a difficult job. I think. I mean, you know, like you did when you came to see me, you'd always ask me, say, like, "What is there anything I need to know?" And I was just like, cut corners.
Yeah,
and know which ones.
And
to
I completely get it now.
But if you've got flour, for example, you know you can use that for many, many, many things.
Yeah.
You don't need to have pancake mix. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't believe how many boats ordering pancake mix.
Yeah.
I always find that remarkable, because to me that's something you don't need, because you've got all those ingredients on the boat and it takes 2 minutes to whip it up.
Yeah.
So why would you have pancake mix? But each to their own. Do you know what I mean? Some people will have muffin mixture and all sorts of... who knows what they do. But the corners you need to know to cut.
Yeah.
What would you say if you're back in London and a chef says to you, I think, after having hearing about it, and says, I think I might do it, what would be your top 3 pieces of advice you'd give them if they'd never been in yachting before? What would be the 3 tips you'd say?
Just accept that you've got a game plan. Somebody else has got a game plan. It's their game plan, not yours. Because they are the boss. So you can't have a menu set that you're so passionate about, because they'll just rip it to shreds. Or they'll say yes, no, blah blah. It's like, sure, yes.
That's a phenomenal piece of advice.
So you have to just accept your pride, and then I'd say just be accepting to have help from suppliers. And everyone makes mistakes, and just don't be a hothead like we said earlier about losing your shit about the tomatoes aren't right and stuff. Just go with the flow. If there's a mistake, and I think the final one is just be honest. Don't try and hide things from the owners. Don't try and bullshit the clients. That, you know, they might be fed up that there's a problem, but if you take it on the chin and tell them, then they're going to appreciate you a lot more. So I'd just say just sort of be a bit more rounded to situations, and just be a bit more humble, and just just don't be too ego driven.
Yeah, it's amazing. Honestly, that's amazing.
Just try and relax. And another thing, as I say, is composure. Like, I was calling my best mates who aren't chefs on boats, the chefs in industry, and they're like, just keep composed. And I'm freaking out, thinking, like, I've got another 10 days of these guests on board. I'm going to run out of ideas. I'm going to run out of stuff. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm talking to my stew, who's really good, my chief stew. And he's like, don't worry, just believe in yourself. And then, act of God, if she's come back on and she wants seafood night, and I'm like, great, she's brilliant. Or act of God, they're like going to nice restaurant and stuff. So yeah, just keep composed, till the end. And luckily I survived.
Yeah.
There was one day she asked me for sashimi, and don't know too much about Japanese food, and I've done something that I've done like carpaccio, and I've marinated it, and I thought that was cool, and she asked me for sashimi, and I've done this. And so she calls me up to Sundeck, and we've had this chat, and she said, have you got any tuna? And I'm like, yeah. And it's all in the freezer, all that sort of stuff. So I've done it, and I've done it wrong. And she said, just to let you know, you haven't quite done it how I wanted it, and it's not classic. I was like, okay, sure. And then she said, have you been to many Japanese restaurants? You probably haven't. I said, no. She said, oh, well, our favourite restaurant is Zuma in Capri. We love it. Would you like to go tonight? I was like, I'm not sure. I'll have to speak to the guys. I wouldn't like to go on my own. I'd like to go with the guys. 5 minutes later, she came back. We booked the table for 10 of you to go tonight at 8 o'clock. So we went.
You're joking?
No, 100%.
That's amazing.
She sent me to Zuma.
With all the crew?
With all the crew, all because I'd sliced a sashimi wrong.
So what did you slice wrong next?
That was it. So, but yeah, she was really nice.
That's an amazing thing.
So the real people.
Yeah, that's really nice. I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm really happy to hear a story like that, because I think a lot of owners, the wives, the husbands, whatever, they get some bad shit said about them.
Yeah.
I completely. It's like someone says to me, do you have any difficult clients? I said, they're all difficult.
Yeah.
Super yachting.
Yeah.
What the fuck do you think it's going to be easy? No. If it's easy, go home.
Everyone do it.
It's always going to be hard.
Yeah.
And the clients are always going to be difficult because they have paid for that right. And it's not because they're difficult.
Right,
it's because they want that, and they're paying for it. And they're paying good wages, and they're paying me a lot of money for my food, you a lot for your skill. So if they say they want it a certain way, I completely get it. I have no issue in any way, shape or form, never would. In fact, by saying I have an issue with it, I'm offended with myself, because that's the job. They are the only thing that matters in this industry. Obviously my staff, of course, because I can't do it without them. So I have two clients. I have people like yourself and your customers, your owners, and then I have my staff. Those are my clients. They're two different types. But I love the fact that, if you phone me and go, I have a problem, I need this sorted, that to me is an opportunity, not a reason to complain. And I think if you've got the same mindset on board as a chef, where if somebody comes to say to you, look, I don't really like it like that, can you do it this way? You've just been given invaluable information. There's no more guessing.
Yeah.
And for them to send you to the restaurants, you can really experience it. It gives a chef who's passionate so many ideas. That meal probably sparked flames and you never even knew were there. Like, shit, now you just said to me, you want to go to Japan, you want to go on a sushi course and find out and learn more about the product. I mean, that in itself, what she's done there is just amazing. And I think it's a great thing. She's shown a lot of respect for you and said, go taste it, tell me what you think.
So you accept that, and you accept that, okay, if they want fresh bread every service, they'll get fresh bread every service, because they're real people.
Yeah.
You have to adapt. And the way I sort of see it in my mind is like, she's my head chef.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times, I think on boats, you're trying to guess what they want, and it falls down because of lack of communication. And they want, like, the hot chef that's the man, and then they don't want the hot chef because his food's rubbish, and they don't really know what they want, so they just burn through chefs. But she's coming to me and telling me, like, she wants to know what she's having for lunch. She wants to know what she's having for breakfast. She'll tell me that she wants a Caesar salad. She'll tell me that she wants a Greek salad at 12 o'clock. It might be 12:05 or 10:12. That's fine.
Or three.
But some point before she has dinner, she'll have this course at whatever time.
Yeah.
And you just think,
maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
but then it might go out the window.
Yeah.
It might be chicken dumplings.
Yeah.
So, but you have to be on your A game. So I appreciate that.
I think that's part of the fun.
Yeah.
I think that's the part. I think, compared to restaurant trade, you've got a menu.
Yeah.
You know how to do your section. You know how to do the stuff. Really, to a certain degree, depending how often you change that menu, it can be quite repetitive, and there's not a lot to learn after a while. You're going to go through the process. And I think, and I mean this with no disrespect to chefs, and it's the same for any job. I mean, why do you think they have a production line? A production line is a production line so that it comes out the same every time. And that's the same in a restaurant. There's a production line. You learn how to make the sauce as far as the head chef's concerned. His way. You get it to a T every time, and you're supposed to make them as you come in every day. And they're supposed to be exactly correct. They can't change. You can't look up, put a bit of turmeric in that today. That's not the score. So that's a production line. And I think when you go to work on a boat or a yacht, let's call it a yacht, that it's not a production line anymore. This is where flair and passion and all the exciting things about cooking come to life. And you get to use the best product in the world. If you want to do Wagyu steaks, I mean, look, we had smoked Japanese sirloin tonight. Amazing. Now, really you wouldn't get that in a fucking restaurant on a budget where you've got to, I mean, you would maybe every now and again in the odd place, but even a Michelin restaurant wouldn't do that. It's going to be, what, €300 a plate?
And there's food costs and stuff like that.
And if it doesn't get eaten, it's fresh. What do you do? Freeze it? I mean, you're just not going to do that in a restaurant. So you've got to always remember there's a plan and there's a price level and a model. On a yacht, that's not the case. But I do think that charter vessels, and you've worked on both, I suppose, now, is a very different beast because they may never tell you what they want in that week or 10 days, 2 weeks. They may never tell you. And you've got to be flary. And I think Lee's a good example of somebody, I've always said this, I've said it on the podcast before, you get rock star chefs. And those are the chefs that not only know how to cook, but they know how to talk to the client. And, without sounding nasty, because it's not nasty, but manipulate the client into eating what they have in the galley. And be able to be able to flair with the clients and with the food and use the same stuff but make it different. And that's what I think a rock star chef is. They know what they're doing. They don't get stressed. They just smash it out, and they know how to act with the clients and discuss things with them and have those conversations, and they don't feel nervous. And I think you'll find, the more you spend time with clients and the owners, the more comfortable you'll feel and more confident in your own ability. Because I know you're a good chef, but I think that this first year, it's almost like you wanted to prove to yourself that you're a good chef. You knew you could cook, but now you're in an environment where every single day is different. And that's a cool thing. Now you've learned you want to learn more about Japanese food and be able to cook more stuff. And, all of a sudden, you sort of realize where your limitations are and you want to knock those walls down. And that's an amazing place to be for a chef, because there is so much to discover. It doesn't matter what level you are. You send Gordon Ramsay to China, he's going to see shit he's never seen. And I think that's what's exciting about food, is it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. You're always going to find something new, exciting, cool, something you can manipulate and change and fit into a menu. And now everywhere you go, you're going to think, oh, maybe Madame would like that. That's something I might do, and I'll think about that and I'll write that down and I'm going to learn that recipe. Or you see something in a restaurant, you go, shit, that fits really well with that dish that I do. And all of a sudden, you're going to find over the next few years in yachting how incredibly high a level you can get to, because you've got all the skills. But now you're going to have that imagination and that push and that ability to have amazing products without worrying about whether the restaurant's going to make money. Because that's a big thing that holds back restaurants.
And the chefs.
And the chefs,
And they're obviously worried about the bread line and the...
Can they pay the bills? Can they pay the staff? Will people pay the bill?
It's just the little details, like the first dinner I did like a little welcome thing, because that's something I learned from Lee. You always have like a little welcome, like a cookie or just a little welcome fruit platter or something, just a welcome. Sometimes the guests will just walk past it, that's fine, or sometimes they're looking for just a bite, as you just had the face wipes and all that sort of pizzazz. But the fresh wasabi, that went down a storm.
Oh yeah, what did you think?
Yeah, I loved it.
Have you used it much before?
Well, only on boats because
Okay.
I hadn't been able to afford it, and I'd never really seen it. But so I've done like nigiris, and not to the best. I need a bit more practice on that, I'll be honest. But I've just done that, and I said, "Oh, madam, we've got a little bit of fresh wasabi." So fresh wasabi? I said, "Yeah, it's fresh wasabi." So that little detail adds stuff because you can afford to buy fresh wasabi, and you can afford to have it. It makes that experience a bit better, and like
I think it's also an availability thing. In yachting, everything's available.
everything's
Do
available.
you know what I mean? You said to me, "Can I have some fresh wasabi?" No problem.
Yeah.
I order it for my guy. He sends it to me. I get it next day.
Yeah, I don't want 4 kilos, but
Yeah, you
maybe
get what
100,
use
yeah.
100 grams,
Yeah.
but you know, I think in some places actually, if you said to the local market, "You don't need fresh wasabi," they'd just laugh at you.
Yeah, and I think that's good where like Riviera Gourmand come in is that you get what chefs want, and you know the quality, then the level that the food and the produce needs to be. Because you're a chef and you've been a chef, and you know what the chef's looking for. Like if you give me 5 strawberries and you know I want a nice one, you know the products
Yeah.
I want.
Yeah.
Any product you'll
Well, I
know.
know because I'm a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
As my staff will tell you, I'm a complete pain in the ass. Go and see my suppliers. They don't like me.
no,
Because
especially
I'm-
in France when
I'm a pain
everyone
in
in
the
France
ass.
wants to be chilled and not
Yeah.
stressed and not pushed, and you're pushing them so hard to get the best.
I have to push them because if you didn't do that, they wouldn't provide it.
And then there'll be one day where they're on bank holiday and they don't make the croissants that you need for
Yeah.
your.
Well, I remember actually this season, I got some croissants one morning. I asked my guy, I had somebody come in for a meeting. So I said to one of my guys on the way and grab some cooked croissants from my bakery.
Yeah,
He said, no problem. I come in, I have the meeting, there's some on the table. They all have one. I bit into my pain au chocolat. I was like, this is fucking horrible. I literally sent him a picture after they'd gone. I sent him a picture of it because it was dry inside and it just doesn't look flaky. And, you know, I was like, I texted him, I sent him a picture and I texted him and said, I just need to know, is this the same pastry that I'm giving to my clients? Because for the last 10 years, it's been amazing. And if this is what's going to my clients, we need to have a chat. I can't sell that.
yeah.
And he literally rang me straight away. He was very upset. What do you mean? I don't know. I don't understand. I said, no, these are dog shit. And I just said it to him. I said, these are shit. I said, this is an old, as far as I'm concerned, this was made 3 days ago.
Yeah.
I said, this shouldn't be on the shelf. I said, definitely shouldn't be coming out of your bakery. I should never have got it.
Yeah.
And if that's going to my clients, we're done. I said, I'm looking for a new baker tomorrow. That's it. And he just promised me, he went, I don't know how that happened. It must just be a bad batch. I was like, and since then, like, everything's been perfect, never any issues. But those pastries are nice that we have. But that's what unfortunately, I just,
Yeah,
I'm a pain in the ass now.
but that's good because you're sort of like the person that does that for the chef, because that saves me a lot of hassle.
Well, you don't have time.
No,
You
no.
can't be in the marketplace doing all of that.
Or chasing up 5 suppliers
No.
because products are wrong and stuff. And that,
Imagine you had to use a fishmonger, a butcher, a fruit and veg man, a bakery, a dairy person, frozen guy, and dry goods people.
yeah.
You'd never get your job done.
And there's some boats that just don't use provisioners because they don't want to afford them. And everyone knows, right, provisioners are expensive, but they take up so much. Like, you get everything done.
Yeah.
And you put a lot of faith in you to do that. So, you know, why don't you use provisioners?
I think if you come from a restaurant trade, sometimes you'd see the prices and go, but we're not selling, you know, I mean, I talk about this a lot about berries. I am astounded, we talked about it earlier, but I'm astounded how anybody would buy berries from Holland
Yeah.
when, in June and July, for example, when they are kick-ass in Europe, like Southern Europe. They're grown locally. Yes, they're expensive, I'm not going to lie. But if they're grown outside, organic strawberries, raspberries, I mean, even the raspberries I had, the French ones last week, were the best I think I've had this year. And I'm a massive raspberry fan. There's a particular variety that I only buy if I can. In fact, for me personally, I'm such a pain in the ass. There's only one variety I'll eat. If it's got Driscoll on the packet, I'll just throw it in the bin. Driscoll,
Or the Dutch brand.
that dog shit that people buy. They do all sorts of berries, complete dog shit. It's 59 cents a punnet from them to their distributor. That's how shit it is. And I had a chef the other day say to me, you know, he actually was quite angry about the price of raspberries and strawberries. And I said to him, yeah, they're French though. I said, these are like organic, grown outside. They're just like kick ass, and they've got vitamins in them. And I don't like to be rude about, you know, other companies, people making products, but I'm sorry, if you grow a strawberry in under lights in a tent in fertilizer, I'm sorry, it's not the same product. Yeah, it's not. It's like a battery chicken compared to a free range in a field.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And you wouldn't give battery chicken to the owner of a boat. So why are people giving them battery strawberries? This is my new thing.
Yeah.
Battery fruit and veg. I just don't believe in it. Red pepper in the summer. And you know, the problem is, because the prices of everything's gone super high after the whole COVID thing. I blame COVID quite a lot. Basically, because prices just went through the roof. People are trying to save money where they can. Get that. But red pepper from Holland, those round ones like this, which are almost orange, with zero. I mean, literally, if you cut that up and I put it in your mouth, you wouldn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have a clue. The red pepper in France are fucking outstanding in the summer. Why would anybody on a super yacht want Dutch, small, flavourless, almost orange peppers when the French ones are in season? Why not have in-season fruit and veg?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I do understand for crew you don't want to spend the money. I get that.
Yeah.
But I work with some boats where the chefs are like, no, I'm not buying it. I only want the best. The owner demands the best.
Oh,
I just showed you the video of the guy testing the fruit and veg with a nitrate machine, and he does that with everything in the morning to make sure the guests have got the best.
Yeah.
If it goes over the nitrate level, boom, not going to the client.
Oh no.
And I think that's how it should be. I said to him, I absolutely adore your owners, because that's how I'd be, a pain in the ass. I just think if you're going to be on a super yacht, you know, the owners in your boat at the moment, they want the best. They want to know that they're getting good quality. How would they feel if the owner knew, or the charter client knew, that the concept was save money on fruit and veg? Because,
I mean,
if you think about the amount of money they're spending to have their yacht, and if you're saving on fruit and veg maybe €300-400 on a full order on a bigger boat, because you're buying it from a country, and this is the other thing is, I know they buy it for a lot less than we do, and they're charging a lot more margin than we would, because they can do. So they probably sell it for what we buy it for.
Yeah, true.
But their margin's super high because of that. So they're actually overpricing a very low grade product.
Yeah.
Strawberry's not a strawberry. Like I said, it's a battery strawberry. That's my new thing now. But what's your thoughts? You're a chef. You've been on boats. You've seen all of it now in a year. I mean, what do you think? It's one of the things that winds me up, I suppose. But
like you do need the best products, and also because you're going out for a long period of time, the products need to hold up. Like on my previous boat, we would take on provisions like maybe 5-6 days. So the strawberries need to hold up, because it's a nightmare to keep chopping and changing in different locations. And I remember we actually ran out of some fruit. Lee's ordering was fantastic, but there was some berries or something we ran out of, and we were trying to like stumble around Carrefour. He sent me ashore to Cannes one night, just stumbling around, did like 8 o'clock at night trying to get more berries for the last 2 days, just to survive. And we came to a conclusion that was said that we're really sorry we can't get really good berries. We just tried so hard, and we just said no.
Really?
I mean, I couldn't get the good stuff. And
well, you wouldn't in a Sid market,
no,
that's for sure.
Or just trying to get something. So we just came to the conclusion that we weren't. Well, we adapted. We got more berries.
The thing is, if you buy the Dutch stuff, it does last longer.
Yeah.
And it looks nicer for a lot longer. I wouldn't deny that for a second.
Yeah.
But the taste isn't there.
I think you've got to get the balance of
the two, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. I mean, look. Obviously, I live in France. I'm a massive fan of local produce.
Same.
For me, that is the key to any of these things, is local produce. Now, obviously, Wagyu is not local. Yes, caviar is not local. Let's not pretend. Vanilla's not fucking local. We know that. But if you can get local produce, you should do. And that doesn't mean you'd buy local lamb. if you don't like it. Having said that, the Sistron lamb that's up in the Alps, a couple of hours away from here, is kick-ass.
Oh, the Pyrenees stuff?
No, the other way, up towards the Alps, the French Alps. There's an area called Sistron, and the lamb from there is phenomenal. Quite small, but absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, really beautiful. Yeah. But again, it's a personal taste, isn't it? You know, the Sistron lamb is I think has a nice mellow flavour. It's not too lammy, if that makes any sense. Yeah. And where some lamb you have, it's so strong that it actually is quite off-putting. Yeah. And other stuff, you wouldn't know it's lamb. Yeah. So I like the sort of nice balance between the two, and I think the Sistron lamb is a really nice balance. It's slightly smaller, so it's got a nice smooth flavour. It's not too in your face, but you know it's lamb, and that's why I like it. But it's the same for many products. You know, if you can get local and it's good quality local, you should buy it.
100%.
And I don't see why. I do know why. It's a money thing. Of course it is. Yeah. I get that. But I think this is the one industry where maybe, you know, the owners would say no for the fruit and veg. It's okay. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But that's just. I mean, I'm a provisioner living here, buying French stuff. Of course, I'm going to be
living the dream,
biased, aren't I? Of course, I am.
Living the dream, though.
Well,
I think you've got the best job out of it all, to be honest.
I'm not sure. Hey, look, it's hard.
Yeah, no.
Same as chefing.
You definitely put the hours in, and I think it's good because you always got, from a chef's point of view, you always got yourself to contact, and you're always there at the phone, and you're always contacting.
Well, for me, the most important thing is contact. Phenomenal. You need to know that when you text me on this last trip you've done, if you text me, I'll reply. Yeah. It's very rare that I wouldn't reply very quickly, because I think that's super important. Even if you like your little voice messages, you give me a little bit of a rundown of how things are going. I love listening to those because it makes me happy that you're enjoying the produce and that you're telling me what's happening and how it's working out and what worked well and what didn't work, because I don't know. I'm not there. Yeah. And very few chefs share that. So actually your like rundown every now and again of how the produce is going is super important to me. Yeah. It's a viewpoint that I usually don't get. I wish more chefs would do that. But of course they're busy. You know, maybe it's not the most important thing is to tell the provisioner whether, the garlic was good or bad. Yeah, yeah. But it's really cool when I hear what you're doing and how it's going down.
I think it's important. Like my sea bass in Capri, I text the lady and I said the banging sea bass. Madame loved it. Like banging mussels. Madame loved it. Yeah. I think it's important. I'll tell him as well if it's crap.
And that's the best thing. It has to go both ways. If it's shit, you tell him it's shit. If it's good, you tell him it's good.
Tomatoes we got from one supplier was crap.
Yeah.
I just let it go because we've already set sail. I'll probably never see them again. We just pay the invoice and move.
And that's the problem. Some places where you just have to pay it.
We'll never see them again.
That's the problem. So you've had a good season.
Loved it.
You're looking forward to your winter.
Yeah.
Bit of a break after this little trip.
A little bit.
And then
maybe a month off.
Move on and see where it leads. Yeah. And see what happens. Hopefully they take you back next year.
I hope so.
You seem to like them and get on with them really well.
Yeah. I'd say so.
And the crew are good.
Very good.
That's a super important thing.
Top crew. Yeah. Shout out to all the crew on board.
And you've met some great people on the previous boat. And I mean, Lee's going to be somebody you'll stay in touch with forever.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
No, thanks so much, Damien.
Hey, no, thank you, man. You know, at the end of the day, you contacted me. We've had a nice little relationship build, and like I've always said, I love to see new people in the industry because I think it desperately needs new chefs all the time. There's 1,000 super yachts in production right now.
Wow.
That's 1,000 chefs we're going to need in the next few years. That's within a 3-year period. That's 1,000 chefs.
They need to be at a good level as well.
And they need to be like you. They need to have their shit together.
Rounded experience.
Yeah, rounded experience, willing to learn, like you did, not have an ego, go and do a job that you, in the real world, you'd have gone, well, you're having a laugh. You didn't do that. You went and did it. You've learned shitloads from that, which is invaluable. You couldn't pay for that information. And I think any new chef coming into the industry or watching this thinking, is yachting for me? First of all, do you care about your own time? If the answer is yes, it's not for you. If you need lots of sleep, it's not for you. But if you're willing to learn, you want to push the boundaries, use amazing produce, get paid well for it, go to some cool places, meet amazing people. Then, yeah, but you've got to be prepared to not see overwork as abuse. Yeah. Because if you do, don't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I see those posts. We mentioned it before. You see them all the time. If you believe overwork is bad for your mental health. Do not do this job because it will kill you. You've got to come into it with eyes open, and I think that's what you did. You came in, you cracked on, you met some great people, but you've got an attitude that works. It's so important.
I think as well, like, you've got to enjoy the downtime and just try and enjoy a bit of rest, try and go swimming, try and do activities off the boat. It's important. Just touching on that. But no, I'd like to say thank you for everything, Damien.
Pleasure, man. And thank you.
Shout out to all the stews and the deckhands that I've worked with on board both boats. And
when we put this out, you'll have to text them and send them a link so they can have a listen.
Yeah.
But it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you, and I'm looking forward to seeing where you go over the next few years, and where your travels take you in yachting.
No. Thank you so much,
Thank
David.
you.
We'll keep in touch.
It's an absolute pleasure. Yeah, it's been fun, and thanks for coming to do some cooking in the test kitchen tonight as well. Fantastic food, and I look forward to next season when as soon as you get here. You've got to come back and see us. Come and have a chat. We'll show you all the new produce we have, so you can sort of get your juices flowing before the season kicks off.
2025.
Yeah, man. It's been fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks very much. We'll see where it leads.